Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston of Our Blooming Catholic Life. I'm here today with a short book review, partially because I was misled by the description of this book on the internet, and so I want to get it out to you so you know what this is. It says a Gregorian Chant Masterclass, and I was excited because it was listed as having the Ward method in it that we described with our friend Veronica Brandt had been telling us about the Ward method. I remember we were trying it to learn some Gregorian chant. And so I was like, oh, it's a master class. This is written for adults because you can get the children's textbooks for free on the internet. I have a sample of them in there. I did print out some of those pages. They're very much written for teaching a classroom of children. I thought that I could still glean things from them, but I really couldn't. And so I had gotten this book. I was pretty excited. It also comes with a CD. If you have anything that can still play CDs, perhaps you can burn the CD into an MP3. But this says, how is it possible to learn music, especially the ancient and nuanced art of Gregorian chant, if you have no way to hear it? Where do you find a master? How do you get a chance to study with one? Dr. Theodore was internationally recognized as one of the world's great masters in the field of Gregorian chant, scholarship, and performance. Having worked tirelessly as a teacher, writer, and choir conductor, he left one remaining goal unfulfilled at the time of his death in 2001, the creation of an effective and accessible teaching tool that could be made available to chant students throughout the world. This is the fulfillment of that vision. A Gregorian Chant Masterclass includes a textbook and CD outlining 10 fundamental points of style distilled by Dr. Marier for over 50 years of teaching experience and explained in his own voice. These 10 instructions are accompanied by supplementary explanations and sung examples. Together, the book and companion CD offer a unique method of instruction designed for choir directors, teachers, and individual students, making it possible for anyone to be initiated into the art of the chant. The musical examples and chants are sung by the choir Benedictine nuns at the Abbey of Regina Laudis in Stamford Schola Gregoriana, conducted by Scott Turkinson. So I did find this, I think it was called Blue Plate Books, a used book dealer in Winchester, Virginia, I believe. So inside, you open it, you can see that this page, there's something here. This is probably something that I kind of found. You may find some free resources out there that help you a little bit with Gregorian chant. And this is the thing that I was working through with other ones. Just the basics of the staff, the notes, why they're clustered. Why is this a do clef? When it moves, whatever that line is do. But then there's also a fa clef. See, what is this here? What the whole and half steps are. Movable do. This, I thought the descriptions of the different bars was very helpful. Let's see, what else do we have here? Breathing. How do you breathe in Gregorian chant? That's very exciting. It tells you which of the bars. That relates to the different kinds of bar lines. Are there rests in Gregorian chants? What is a custos? It's a half note at an end of a staff. It's literally like cut in half widthwise. Like, what is that? And then there's the special clusters. So in Gregorian chant, because many notes may happen on any given syllable, and that would take a lot of space to write, and originally printing was a big deal. And so in an effort to condense the music and make it more readable, they clustered the notes in different ways. And the clusters all have names. The podatus, for example, is an ascending two-note nuum. The bottom note is sung first and is ictic, and the top note is softened. There's the clivis, the bistropha, tristropha, dotted punctum, climactus, torculus, porrectus, scandicus, salicus, quilisma, pressus. I'm not saying any of these right. Epicema. It's like, what? So some of them are clusters of notes. Some are swooshes between them. Some are dots next to them. And there may be a line next to them. What are they? That isn't a handy chart. This is like cardstock. So this is a handy fold out chart right there. I liked that already. I was excited by that. That alone is going to be a huge resource to me. So then I was led to, what is the back cover like? Here's a short biography of the author. And then here is your CD, as well as the selections on the CD are, and how to order your own copies. I don't know if that works anymore. I got it from a used bookstore. But this was actually originally printed guessing abbeyofreginalaudis.com. Let's see here, open it up. Oh, see, it does have the fancy type out here. Again, I did that to give an aesthetic, a feel for the book, but it can be difficult with some people with reading disabilities and vision disabilities to see those things. So I do remind people to limit that or to make it big enough that perhaps they can make it out. Maybe something a little bit larger. There's plenty of room left on the page. They could have done that a little bit more clearly. It was copyrighted in 2002, but there was a revised edition in 2008. That is this one. It was printed by Arlington Lithograph in Arlington, Massachusetts. Let's see here. The rhythmic markings in the Liber Cantalis are used for Gregorian chants in this book with the permission of Abbé Saint-Pierre de Solomès in France. The English translations of the Latin phrases and texts used in the ordinary Mass are taken from the standard translations by the International Committee on English and the Liturgy. It's dedicated to the great music master. The contents are done fairly nicely here because they use indentation as well as lines to differentiate things. So it does make it easier. I don't know that these need to be listed out as instruction 1, instruction 2, instruction 3 with the word written out. It could have said like in instructions and then just number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because that's what you need to know. What you really want to know is the topic you're learning, but they waste so much space in saying instruction and then the number. I think that was useless. What is nice though is like instruction 7 is track 7. They line up there. That's very nice. Even instruction 10 all the way through 10, track 10. That is super duper handy. And then it's kind of funny because down here, chant repertoire, these aren't numbered out, but they are given track numbers. Had they numbered these, that would have been confusing, right? If this was number 1, but then it was track 11, well, I guess you could have just gone by the last digit. That actually could have worked. They probably still could have numbered them because it does start on 11. They probably could have still numbered them, but they chose not to. At the end, then, there are notes and appendix, including a demonstration of how to apply the rules for finding the ictus and resources and reading materials. That's the entirety of the table of contents. Then it starts out with acknowledgements and the story of how the book and compact disc came to be, and gives all of the credit to all those who collaborated on the book. Then there is the preface. I think the preface is important, so I'm going to read it to you. It is by the author of the book in 1999. In Chapter 6 of the Second Vatican Council's Decree on the Sacred Liturgy, the Council Fathers singled out Gregorian chant as having pride of place for use in liturgical services. In the years following the Council's decree, however, many musicians, liturgists, fascinated by the possibility of the vernacular language, forgot this precious heritage. In recent times, there has been a turnaround. Musicians and liturgists are returning to the chant as a principal resource of music for worship. But if Gregorian chant is to continue to merit its affirmation by the Church as having pride of place, then those who sing it must be in control of certain basic elements such as rhythm, pitch, and expression, in order that the single line of the chant melody be sung so as to support and enrich the prayer content in the text. To reacquaint choir directors with the musical techniques required by the chant, as well as to introduce these techniques to newcomers, examples and exercises that isolate those points of style specific to the interpretation of Gregorian chant, are offered in these pages and on the accompanying CD. If practiced carefully, these exercises should provide the basic skills needed to sing the chant, and it is hoped arouse in the singer a deep appreciation of the chant as music and prayer. Not all the new styles of interpretation are considered in this book. Choir masters may want to experiment with different styles. What is offered here are the principles rooted in the great tradition of the Solms Abbey that have proved their merit over the years. There's a little bit more about the book being a practical tool. I will tell you right here, this spiral bound is very smooth and works very nice. It is a lovely idea, a lovely binding for this book. The book is told to be a very practical tool for learning to sing Gregorian chant with style, nuance, and vitality. I'm not going to read more about this book. The CD, it's letting you know the CD will be marked very clearly as to what you need. Again, I get why they decided to use a fancy script, but it may be limiting to some people. Could they have still done that and still had a number, like a big big number 1 over here that was very clear. They still could have done that. I know people don't always think of these things, but it's fact. If you want to be inclusive and include people with, there's no reason why a person with a reading disability couldn't learn Gregorian chant. In some ways it may be easier. I'm not entirely sure. I've never had a dyslexic person tell me their experience of reading Gregorian chant. If you have, please put it in the comments below. There may be ways to do it. I know when I teach people with dyslexia, for example, also dysgraphia is a little different, but dyslexia, when I teach them higher math, they tend to color code things. So certain symbols, the numbers may be in one color, the mathematical symbols could be another, the equal sign could always be equal, greater than, less than, could always be in a different color. Doing it by color, as well as your variables being in a color. Variables and symbols being in different colors let you differentiate, because sometimes a plus sign can look like a T and vice versa. The X's can look like a multiplication sign. So doing them in different color coding is very helpful. I know to dyslexic when they read, and dysgraphics tend to have their own system as well. So dysgraphics, this could be a lot of text on one page and could be overwhelming, but they may come up with their own great system for reading that. I'd love to hear that. Put that in the comments below if you have one. And so when you look at that, that is part of instruction 1. What? But then they break things down. Some other things are very simple. So they walk you through it. It is given here in print very nicely. It's a good size print. Again, if you have a reading disability, another thing they could do is perhaps enlarge some of the written musical script. Would be nice. Oh, so this one is just introducing you to different styles. So again, having that possibly on a board or a poster or something if you were teaching it. But I think it's a pretty good size. I mean, I say that until you get to something like this, which is a little bit harder to see. Another tip for that, especially when you're learning it, we don't have one here. Mechanical pencils that are colored, especially red. I cannot explain why red works really well. Oftentimes, people with reading disabilities can put a colored transparent colored sheet over writing, and it's easier for them to read. In a similar way, having like a mechanical pencil that has a point on the end, right? Not the lead we're looking for the colored point. And so you could follow it. You could point to the different note as you go along. It may make it easier, especially in the beginning, to figure those out. Instruction 2 is uniform ensemble sound. They seem to start out with a little quote by someone, and then there's a couple paragraphs of instruction, and then the exercise starts that goes along with the CD. Aha, track 2. Track 2 begins with pronunciation. And is it choir pronunciation or spoken pronunciation? I'm feeling that it is probably choir pronunciation, maybe tweaked a little bit. If you've ever sung in a choir, you know that, like the word born, you would never say the sound or when you're singing. Jesus Christ is born, because it comes out really awful. You normally say it as A-H, Bon. Is on today, which sounds very elitist when you say it, but when you're singing it, it comes out correctly as the right word. It's really funny. So there may be some little tricks in here as that. So the track 2 is on pronunciation as well as posture and inhaling. Tells you first posture, second inhale, third exhale. Very interesting. So there are some exercises in here as well. Remember I said that word book for the children had exercises. These have them, but they're written that you could do them yourself, either with or without instructor, because again, you have that CD and you're an adult. You don't need all the things that the kids are going to have. Instruction 3 are about scales and solfege. It talks about different modes and tones, range, what is the dominant of a mode. So lovely, authentic modes, plagal modes. It goes into a lot of stuff. It gets what you would think to be difficult right away, but it's done in such little steps. It's really doable. I'm not saying that I am a Gregorian chant aficionado suddenly, but going through this book, I'm going, okay, just even gleaning through it, I understand Gregorian Chant on a completely different level than I did even a week ago. Am I ready to sing it and do all kinds of things? But this book, I honestly think it's one that you could glean through a few times, pick out things that you need to know for very simple things, and then go back and do it more in depth. And several times, probably until you're comfortable with it. You may repeat lessons over and over until you get it. But I do think it's very accessible. I know Veronica has this book as well, so she may do a review or comment below on her thoughts on it. But I think it is great if you don't have anybody around you, or you're just trying to do like an appreciation or for music appreciation class. This could be a good tool for that. So that is the end of that book review. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, or you want more on Gregorian Chant or less, whatever, put it in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, share it to other people, let them know that you liked it, and please subscribe to this channel. I know I always forget to say those things, but please do those. And may the good Lord bless you and keep you, protect you, and let his light shine upon you and be gracious to you. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.